Now let's talk about the duodenal ulcer, which is the clinical of our duodenum. So I'm going to give it the heading called duodenal ulcer. First, in order to talk about the duodenal ulcer, we must know what is an ulcer. So if somebody is asking you what is ulcer, boy, you're simply going to answer it's actually an open, you can write it open sore. All right, or you can say it's an internal or external surface on the, or is it on the external or on the internal surface of the body. So that can be caused by your breakage of your skin or the mucous membrane. So it's kind of which actually, and again you can also mean which actually fails to heal. So now move towards the duodenal ulcer. So duodenal ulcer actually occurs in your first part, like we told you that this guy is very important. Remember this one, the first part. Oh my god, love it. So the first part, like why this guy is important, because we know that the stomach contains acidic chyme. So when that acidic chyme first come over here in the first part of the duodenum, we know that guy is acidic. To make it neutral, we kind of add up over here bicarbonates to make it neutral. So before making it neutral, we know this guy have to cross this first part, and that over here we haven't got any base to neutralize the acidic chyme. So that acid coming from the stomach affecting this area usually causes the duodenal ulcer. So this duodenal ulcer can affect in two ways. Like it can affect your duodenum either on your posterior side or on the anterior wall, or I will say the posterior wall or your anterior wall. So remember this one. This is very dangerous. If there we have got the ulcer in the posterior wall. So what happens if we have the ulcer in the posterior wall? So remember, if you have the ulcer on the posterior wall of your first part of the duodenum over here, we know that on the posterior side, like posterior to this first part of duodenum, there is a big artery. We call it the gastroduodenal artery. Remember, if that duodenal part, the posterior part, have an ulcer, and this ulcer can penetrate, the wall of the duodenum and erode the gastroduodenal artery, which is on posterior to this first part of the duodenum, and can cause hemorrhage. So there could be a severe bleeding, and it's very painful, and it's very painful, and you need an immediate surgery to close this to maintain this area. All right, so on the posterior wall, we remember we have got on the posterior side of the first part of duodenum, we have got the gastroduodenal artery. If we have an ulcer on the posterior wall of the first part of the duodenum, it can affect your gastroduodenal artery. But on the anterior wall, we know that some structures are crossing on the anterior wall. The major structure that is crossing is your transverse colon. Remember this one, this guy kind of crosses over like this one. So your transverse colon kind of crosses this one, and if we have on the anterior side, we know transverse colon kind of passes anteriorly to the duodenum, first part of duodenum. So if we have anterior wall problem, it can erode or you can cause a problem with the the transverse colon, and the material of the transverse colon can come out and get into your the right parabolic gutter, and that would be paracolic gutter, and that will cause a big problem. Like the materials or the feces can get into your whole structure on the right side, which is open upward and downward. All right, so on the anterior wall, it can cause the problem with your what you call the transverse colon. All right, so this is the main the clinical of the duodenum. And today with this lecture, we end up the lecture on duodenum. Maybe it's actually it's going to be the 6th or 7th part. All right, so see you for the next time, and keep visiting Tigers Schooling, and make sure that we have a website called www.tigers tigerschooling.com. Please make sure to visit that site and read our latest blog by our different writers. And we have recently announced two main, over lecturers who are going to give a lecture on different topics. We have Dr. Khiza and we have Dr. SRM, and hope these guys are going to guide you to understand the lectures better way. See you for the next time. Keep visiting Tiger Schooling.